Nerf this!
Don't mind if I do. Okay, so last time we saw the ever-increasing cast of Overwatch, we took a look at McCree and how awesome his backstory and roguish attitude is. So naturally, we need to balance this sudden onset of positivity and look at someone whom I find rather lacking in the personality department, which brings us to Hannah Song, or D.va as she's more commonly known. Or, sure, go ahead, lower her defensive capabilities, but increase her offensive ones, since clearly we have an overabundance of protected tanks in the roster. Now, my main issue with D.va is actually less with her personality, at least she has one, and more with her backstory, as in nothing really happens in it. So to recap, Hannah Song is a successful professional gamer from Korea going by the name D.va. She's known for her competitive spirit and not showing mercy to her opponents, whatever that means in competitive gaming. All is not well though, as Omnics keep attacking Korea and at one point developed the technology to disrupt the automated drones used by the military, forcing them to add pilots to their mechs, called the Mecha program. Naturally, the people in charge decide that the most suitable candidates for real life or death scenarios are professional gamers due to their great multitasking and ridiculous APM. And at this point, I'd like to quote from the wiki directly. Top stars were drafted, including Song, who was now 19. She saw the mission as a game and an evolution of her own career. Without fear or hesitation, she abandoned the limelight of her pro gamer career and got an armored mech operator's license. As a member of Mecha, she could put her reflexes to the ultimate test on a real battlefield instead of a digital one. Her skills and intense competitive spirit made her an extremely effective pilot. Song now fearlessly charges into battle alongside the rest of her mecha unit, ready to spring to her nation's defense at a moment's notice. Recently, she has begun to stream combat operations to her adoring fans, and her growing following has turned her into a global icon. So, to sum up, she was a great pro gamer, robots attacked, so she became a great pro soldier. The end. Problem number one with this backstory is that it paints a picture of an incredibly bland and safe hero archetype that doesn't really give way to any nuance or subtlety. Hannah was an incredibly successful professional gamer with absolutely no military experience, and yet she abandoned that lifestyle and limelight without hesitation, even treating the whole thing as a game and an evolution of her own career. This little tidbit could be interesting if the game, or the lore, ever acknowledged how selfish, egotistical, childish, and just plain messed up it is to view the protection of your country as something that's all about you. I can just imagine her blaming the destruction of a city on lag, but the game just treats it as being fearless and competitive. There really isn't much conflict here in regards to personality, ambition, doubt, or responsibility. Just a plain, abandon the lifestyle I've worked so hard to create? Sure, why not? But at the same time, she really didn't, did she? Which leads us to problem number two. As the last line of her backstory shows, recently she has begun to stream combat operations to her adoring fans, and her growing following has turned her into a global icon. So at the end of the day, she didn't even really have to sacrifice the limelight, and in her own messed up way, she's still just putting her reflexes to the ultimate test on a real battlefield instead of a digital one. This could help explain why she joined the military without hesitation. It was a way to help her country, but also gain more fans and continue her lifestyle, maybe even help her improve when she does go back to competitive gaming, so it might not have been as selfless as it seems. This could easily paint a picture of a much more self-centered and opportunistic character, one who might not be a straight-up villain, but is definitely far from a noble goody-two-shoes, since their actions are driven only partially by the fact that it is the right thing to do, but more because it serves them greatly. But alas, the game seems to just settle on cocky kid who might be a bit immature but is a kind-hearted and selfless individual overall, which is kind of supported by my last observation, also known as problem number three. She is a beloved pop culture icon. She is a successful professional gamer with a huge following, a well-respected military pilot, a leading actor in the dreadfully trashy-sounding movie Hero of My Storm, and just overall adored by the likes of Reinhardt, Lucio, McCree, and everyone who isn't an emotionless sniper or a grumpy old man. Considering all the possible implications her actions have in regards to her personality, and the fact that she streams her combat missions to her fans, I mean, what the hell are 10-year-olds watching her blast people with nukes on Twitch? It feels like a real missed opportunity to have another layered and complex character who's doing the right thing, but for much more nuanced reasons. Overall, as mentioned, her character and backstory just come up as very safe and bland, with not much really happening in it. Hopefully we'll get some more insight into her character in some of the later events or comics. In the meantime, enjoy her 100% presence in all tiers of competitive play. Bye! So instead of me just poo-pooing all over someone else's hard work, nitpicking it all to hell and calling it a day, that was not a jab at any or all critics by the way, honest, I'd like to present an alternate take on this character's backstory and general situation. Oh yeah, sure, why not? Hannah Song, aka D.va, is an accomplished professional gamer known for her competitive spirit and less than ideal sportsmanship. No cheating or anything, just a constant barrage of BM and complaints of balance. As the ongoing war with the Omnics escalates, more and more professional gamers are leaving their profession behind, choosing to enroll in the military to help. This leaves the tournament scene harder and harder to sustain. Even though she is one of the best players, D.va does not volunteer to be part of the mecha program, preferring the limelight of her already established career. Seeing how difficult it is to organize tournaments and keep the esport alive, major sponsors decide to hold a grand competition with all the remaining players and the biggest prize pool in the history of esports. Turnout for the event is huge. Players, fans, sponsors, and even military personnel hoping to draft the winner show up. It is clear that such an occasion is of great importance to the people of South Korea, showing them that even though the war is still ongoing, things are not as bad as they seem. This assumption turns out to be wrong. In the middle of the tournament, a devastating Omnic assault commences, catching the established security and defenses off guard. The battle lasts for several hours, and even though at the end of the day the Omnics are driven back, it is not without cost. Spectators, organizers, generals, and competitors have all lost their lives that day, and the people of South Korea witnessed firsthand just how much they've underestimated their enemy. But the hope and morale of the people was about to be restored, for that fateful day showed Hannah Song that there are much greater things at stake than mere fame and admiration. And after completing her training, she became the best mecha pilot the world has ever seen. Driven by rage, guilt, or a desire for that day to never repeat itself, she fearlessly charges into battle, protecting her home alongside the people she worked so hard to best. She doesn't stream though. That would just be messed up. As you see, this version isn't all that different from her original, origin. Gamer, robots attack, now soldier. It's just a hint of character development that I think gives D.va a bit more depth. She was not only a professional gamer, but an unsportsmanlike, arrogant, trash-talking one who rarely showed respect to her opponents. After the tragedy, however, she learned some humility and now treats her squad mates as equals, since the same people she insulted and badmouthed all these years are now her brothers in arms. Her recruitment is also more of an eye-opening moment, showing a selfish and immature child how much is truly at stake, and how little her fame actually matters when people are suffering. Also, her motivations become a bit more muddled, but in a good way. Was it anger towards the Omnics that drives her to enlist in the mecha program? Or is it guilt, feeling deep down that if she enrolled sooner, maybe the tragedy could have been averted? It gives her story a lot more personal connection to the events, and also changes who she is at the end of it. And she doesn't stream, showing that she takes the missions absolutely seriously and is not holding on to her past life in any way. And also, it would be messed up. Like, seriously.